is up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic. Another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out a new album from Danish instrumental rock trio Town Portal.
Danish?
Danish, Duncan.
We're going to get into this, right?
The band's new album, Grindwork, will be released on November 7th via Dream Bureau. Copenhagen trio Town Portal have spent more than a decade carving out a niche within the realm of instrumental rock music. In February 2024, Town Portal ended a 5-year hiatus with a European tour in support of melodic hardcore legends Thrice. On this tour, Town Portal showcased material from what would become their fourth album, Grindwork. On Grindwork, Town Portal team up with engineer Mark Roberts, who has worked with Delta Sleep and Black Peaks, to craft an album that departs from the bleak, stringent sound of its predecessor Of Violence from 2019, while retaining the grit and heft introduced to the band's sound on this album. Instead, Grindwork dives into a playful exploration of the raw materials of composition without self-imposed restraints, reflecting a renewed sense of creative joy within the trio. This sense of joy that permeates Grindwork sharply contrasts with a world increasingly starved of it, a world in which any creative endeavour could be perceived as trivial or even selfish in the face of the planetary and political crises of our time. At the same time, it's a reaction to exactly that deprivation, a refusal to surrender to the pull of creative cynicism or apathy. On Grindwork, Town Portal circles back to the fragile idea that creating something still matters. Grindwork also sees Town Portal exploring new collaborations. 2 of the album's 10 tracks feature strings composed and performed by Nicole Hogstrand and Lisa Marie Vogel. The album was recorded by Mark Roberts at Black Tornado Studio in Copenhagen in March 2025, with strings and additional guitars recorded by Christian Henrik Ankerstern. The album was then mixed by Mark Roberts and mastered by Carol Saff. Okay, so you actually brought this band to my attention. Was this an Apple Genius recommended?
No. This was a Duncan Can't Sleep, which is every night. Right. But this is a Duncan Can't Sleep scrolling through Instagram, watching in-studio performances from Snooze. And if you click a video, this is how old I'm going to make myself sound, like elder millennial here. If you click on a video on Instagram and you start swiping up, you start doom scrolling, Dave.
Yeah.
And halfway through the doom scroll, there was an advertisement for Touching Grass, the single. And it was, the video was weird. And but I heard, obviously, I was scrolling and I just heard something that sounded a wee bit kind of progressive sludge. And I was like, oh, swiped back and I was like, I'm going to listen to this. And at that point, because it's like a 20-second clip or something, I was in, right? Yeah. And so I downloaded the single, and it was only at that point that I realised it was an instrumental band. I was just they've just given me the bit before the vocals kick in. He's like, do you want to know more? Yes, I want to know more. And as soon as I finished Touching Grass, I sent it to you saying like that, Dave, you need to check this out. And Dave was like that, keys a second, and then you were like that, got it. And that was you getting the album and the time it took for that swipe. What I didn't have was any of the context on the band. Right. So I assumed American. So I did not know Danish. Right. It shouldn't surprise me because, is there anything Denmark can't do as a nation?
Well, this is true, Duncan.
Musically, it's formidable at the moment. So, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. And what did you think of the album? What did you make of Grindwork?
This is really cool. This is a really, really, really cool album. Speaking one, as a musician, but two, it's that way where speaking as a parent, that doesn't make you smarter. You know what I mean? Speaking as a musician, that also doesn't make me smarter. But also someone that enjoys just kind of languishing in music, putting on headphones, sitting back, and just letting the world kind of travel by. Town Portal have that down, down, Dave is what they have. This is really good, man. This is really good. Having done a little bit more research, obviously not from where the band comes from, they are followed from the guys from Snooze, which is probably why Instagram kind of linked it in there, but they follow each other and all the rest. So I don't know if that means they've toured before or whatnot, but I could see why someone in an American band like Snooze would be paying attention to a small instrumental trio like Town Portal all the way over in Denmark. You know what I'm saying? What I think they like, a couple of things I want to just get out straight away. I love the production on this. I adore the production of this because every instrument is perfect. Like the bass sound on this is just lush. It's just like so thick, so heavy, right there with the drums. I mean, those are not tampered with, absolutely not fucked with. Yeah. In the room with the drummer saying, "You're doing a good job." Like it's just so roomy sounding. I kind of love it. And the bass just sits perfect with that. And the guitar, for all the heft it gets, is just meticulously recorded, produced, mixed, and mastered. So, getting that out of the way first. 2, I also love that on the front of this album, from the artwork, I can see that they've listed the tracks out in side A and side B, which makes me think there may be a vinyl option out there somewhere, and that is just designed to make Dave go, should I buy it? And the answer is, Dave, yes. Yes, you should. Not that I want to give away my score, but you should. Right, musically, there's a lot going on here, but actually maybe not as much as you might think. I think overall they have a very cohesive sound. It's kind of progressive, it's kind of sludgy, it's got it's like a shade of a more organic post-metal, but it's not post-metal. I kind of weave through their sound. And what I was concerned with is I've heard some kind of post-metal and kind of, you can't say sludge, or maybe there is post-sludge. Yeah. Is there post-sludge?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is, yeah.
Let's find it. I don't know if I've listened to it before. I want to hear what post-sludge sounds like. I think a weird journey. But like, I've heard some of this before, and like from an instrumental point of view, I've always felt like the music sometimes struggles to keep my attention because those genres have a tendency to repeat and repeat and repeat the beat, Dave, to the point where you're like, if there's vocals doing something there, it's something to focus on. If there isn't, then it's the same riff over and over again. Cleverly enough, Town Portal are aware of this fact, and as a result, smartly make sure that the lead guitar, or the guitar, does enough on the leads and the playing by accentuating chords or adding additional notes to further the sound along, almost the same way that a vocalist may include a higher note the next time that they sing the second chorus, or maybe a little extra counter melody on the final one, just to get you going. They're very much all over that. The other thing is, they're big storytellers. Like, these tracks really ebb and flow in a really cool and interesting way. A good example of that would be a track like A Reasonable Amount of Screaming, which, once again, you would expect some screaming. It's a surprisingly serene sounding track. I was kind of like brace myself, this is where the heavy kicks in, and they hold back in it, but it's interesting. The PR there said about it being playful. It's a hugely playful album. I kind of get the feeling that there's a lot of them in the room doing the old J.K. Simmons from Whiplash, going like the guitarist is locked in on the drummer, going low, right, bring it up, bring it in, fucking like I just get that. Like, it just has a feel of like the best jam sesh ever, in a really, really cool way. Like, I kind of feel like at times they explore things, and when it feels like it might start to be getting marginally lost, they somehow find a way to very course correct in an assured way right back to something that feels like that journey there was merited for the return. I would also say that I think they've got a good sense of time on this. Like, some of these tracks, when I say some, 3 of the tracks run over the 5-minute mark, and those tracks themselves, one being A Reasonable Amount of Screaming, that's like, those are the tracks that they really save the huge playful sections for. but they're also not none of those tracks are side by side. They're spaced out really, really well with track, and then to counteract that, they have relatively short tracks as well. On the first half of the album closes with a incredibly short track called Mammal, which kind of, it's not generally what bands do when they close out the side of an album. You tend to get something a bit long, and it is, as a song, it's a big, thicky, bassy, nasty, and with these lovely, clean picked guitar sims over the top, and the basses just did not get the memo.
Yeah.
It's just like stank bass.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. The beautiful bass, stank bass. It's really cool. And then you get the opening track follows on from that. Is that clean picking carried on, and the bass is kind of like the bass has got the memo. He's opened the memo and went, "All right, sorry, 2 seconds, guys. Just my bass camp here. Just in there we are. We're fine now." Crushed Under Something Gentle. Some of the song titles are absolutely brilliant. I really enjoy them. But the other track, which is relatively short, is Sudoku. Or Sudoku, which I'm assuming is Sudoku. I don't know. I don't know. These things, foreign languages and English. And it's another kind of weird, meandering, kind of playful little something. It's an idea that, it feels like a jammed idea that got us, remember when we were in a band and you would have like a riff or an idea that you could never fit into a song, and we would have it on the shelf waiting for the song that would be there to fit in, instead of just saying, this could be the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know why we ever did that. We're like that, let's just have a 1 minute song. It's a cool idea. We all love it. We love playing it. Let's just put it in the set. That's kind of what Sudoku is. It's kind of it's like this kind of weird, kind of playful, kind of almost feels like a warm-up exercise.
Yeah.
And that's it in the album. So the song lengths are really, really cool, and the way they're positioned is really, really cool. But at its core, I think what Tim Portal do really well is they make a really, in the same way that someone like Three Trapped Tigers, for example, band that I reference more and more every year that we don't have them, and in a way that they continued to just make their music very, very interesting without the focal point of having a vocalist. Tim Portal have that really well kind of captured. I always felt, I was never conscious of how long a track had went on for, which is good. But I was always fully locked into what the music was doing, what every instrument was doing. And they're all very, very, very good at what they do. They're very restrained at parts. Me and that band would have had moments that went far more violent than they probably would need to be. Yeah. And Tim Portal don't do that. They seem to know what fits the song well and then land on it. And like I say, that production just sweetens the deal for a band I had never heard of before. And let's be honest, we're not on either one of our radars. There's so much music in Denmark at the moment. I don't know if we would ever got around to this. This is one of these things where I'm going to weirdly say that social media is actually maybe not a bad thing, because I would never have come across them before. And I've had a ball listening to this, spun this quite a bit, mostly at night, mostly with the headphones on in my downtime, and it sits comfortably in the back of my brain and gives me enough to pay attention to, enough to remark on, without being anything that made me at any point kind of feel like, that's one step too far, or I don't know why we did that. So yeah, I think it is a very good album, and I didn't do due diligence on this one, so I'm curious if you checked the previous album out, which they said was maybe a bit harsher, and a while ago. So I'd be curious to see how much that has been changed and refined in the 6 years that we're away. But as an introduction to the band, I would fuck with this, Dave. I would fuck with this hard. What about you? How did you get on?
So as we know, I am quite picky with instrumental bands.
Horrendously picky.
Really picky. Yeah. And I mean, you sent me the track Touching Grass. I was like, all right, okay. Not usually my go-to, but there was definitely something kind of fascinating about the kind of stylistic choices of this band. And that was only heightened even further when I hit play on the album. But They are a difficult band to like stick in a box. Like it's yeah, I mean, I did have a listen to their previous couple of releases to try and get an idea of like the range on offer from this band. Where were they coming from in the early days? And it's like, when you listen to the previous albums, it's quite a broad spectrum, to be honest. It is like, yeah, I mean, it's rooted in progressive music, absolutely. But like when you listen to their back catalogue in this album, it's not they're not an out and out progressive band either. I was like, there's bits of like post metal, as you mentioned. They've touched into like noise rock and math rock and post rock and post hardcore.
Yeah, the thrice support makes 100% sense. You know what I mean?
Even some like kind of indie kind of scattered on some of the previous albums as well. So it's like it's very, very varied. The debut album, Chronopoly, I think it was called. Guitar tone on that is killer, like just so fucking good. And then their last album, Of Violence, definitely one of their heavier out of the three albums. Again, quite heavy, a bit heavier on the kind of post metal kind of stuff on that one. But it kind of also makes sense, like when you look at their background and like what they did before. Like the guitarist of the band was in a shoegaze band. The drummer was in a death metal band, and the bassist
fucking
was in
Denmark, man. Honestly,
the bassist was in a kind of math pop band as well. So you can hear how some of this stylistically has become what it is. Maybe not much death metal in here, obviously, but the dynamics and the technicality is there in a huge way with this band. What often kind of puts me off instrumental bands, especially in the more progressive lane, is the need to kind of overcomplicate and overstuff a release with ideas. Because that vocal element isn't there, something has to replace it, and that can almost be embellished upon to a point where it becomes like too complicated, and there's like no room in the track to breathe at all. And I think maybe that's why, like, with instrumental stuff, I maybe lean more towards the kind of post-rock side of things.
Well, yeah, like
it's usually
the reason it doesn't work for you is because a front person isn't just melody; it's lyrics as well.
Yeah.
Right. If all you're doing is playing melody, and that's it,
yeah,
you maybe hum it along a little bit, but there's nothing to weight it in there. So there needs to be something else in there. So I get that.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to a lot of movie scores, so for me it's motifs. I hear motifs in music. And that's why I also think, you know what, as a psychologist right now, as a pretend psychologist now, I think we've got to the root of your issue with foreign vocalists as well. You mean it's because your dad didn't love you, right? That's what I'm saying. Because your dad was foreign and didn't love you. Dad only ever spoke to you in German. When my dad speak to me, not 9. But I think there is a thing there. You are a lyrics guy.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
more than me, which is weird because I'm a vocalist.
Yeah.
But you are that grims you in there. If you don't have that, you just have melody that builds on melody that builds on melody.
Yeah.
What's grimming you? What's it saying to you?
Yeah. And I think with a lot of the kind of post rock stuff, there's an emotional kind of side to that I quite like,
which is why you love that music.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm happy to say Town Portal are clearly very, very switched on when it comes to kind of piecing tracks and an album together, because there's not an ounce of fat on this. Like, I was like maybe 3 tracks in, and like any apprehension I had about this being like overindulgent or like too self-serving was pretty much gone. These guys know exactly how to balance a track with just the right amount of kind of intelligent playing and technicality, without them overplaying. You know, they don't like just run or like turn into unnecessary guitar wankery on this. Like, this is not that type of album. It's much more dynamic, and it can be quite subtle at times as well. You know, very kind of smoothly done, but they also have that kind of ability to flip it and hit you with something a bit, you know, with a bit more of a kind of raw power. You know, that kind of punch. Not gonna lie, the first thing that hit me was the bass tone. Like that was
bass tone is so fucking good.
Number one. Like when that bass comes in on Heart's Content, I just about jizzed. Like I'm not lying. Like that, it's all tone and all girth. Like I was like, oh, that's so good. And it's not like in a sludgy kind of way. It's not like overpowering or overbearing. It's got
clear as a bell.
Oh, so much character to it. Like you can hear every detail of that bass, like every note, every bend and slide. It got real nuance to the bass tone. But like it can kick you square in the dick as well. At times, like there's some riffs and some kind of runs that he hits that are like, oh man, so thick sounding. It's got this like, it's like a shunk. It's like it's not chunky, it's like shunky. If that makes sense. Like the bass, it's like I was kind of obsessed with it. I'm not gonna lie. The first few songs, I was like, oh, that bass. And then it hit a point in like track 3, I was like, oh fuck, right, I better start paying attention to other stuff because so far I'm just thinking about bass.
How did you get with the album, Dave? Bass. Like anything else, bass.
Great bass. But when I started to kind of like pick out all the other kind of elements and, you know, actually paying attention to what was going on, I realized, all right, every member of this band has chops. Like there are no weak links here. They all pull their weight, and they know how to work together. And even like when the bass and the guitar are doing different things, they never overlap in a way that sounds messy. Like they kind of slot into each other's gaps, if that makes sense. Like they're like this band are like kind of perfect jigsaw. You know, everything just
they're a marriage.
Yeah. Just
you have like different interests, you do different things, but you choose to spend your time together because you fit.
Yeah. And everything, every moment or every track gives you something different. You know, where they'll just kind of push the style or the dynamics in a slightly different direction. So it doesn't sound like you're just getting the same thing twice. And that's another thing that kind of bothers me with instrumental albums is sometimes you're like, am I on the same track or have we moved on another track? I'm not quite sure. But
right, now tell me about your mother, Dave. Like, let's get like, I feel like we're finding it a lot in this session here.
Also German, and but like even when they kind of move or switch that tone or style, they're still the same kind of DNA, you know. Like it doesn't feel like 10 tracks that have nothing in common. They're all still interlinked together. I actually got quite a bit of Kowloon Walled City on this release, especially on like Heart's Content and Plowshare. Some of the guitar work is like very reminiscent of that same kind of discordant vibe as Kowloon. And it wasn't until afterwards that I actually found out they've done collaborations with Kowloon Walled City in the past. I was like,
never heard of these guys. Have we never heard? Like, this is fucking frustrates me.
Yeah, but it all kind of started to make sense. I was like, oh right, okay, this is like they definitely share that kind of similar characteristics. But I feel like Town Portal do have like kind of more in their arsenal. There's more sides to them. They can be kind of dark and heavy at times. There's a lot of moments I was like, well, that's a little bit kind of Meshuggah-esque, like just in some of the rhythms. Or they'll kind of lean slightly into a more kind of post-metal kind of territory, and that comes to the forefront. They'll groove it out on a track like a reasonable amount of screaming, but as you said, this can also be very playful. And I heard a bit of that on Touch and Grass when you sent me the single, where the timings are quite offbeat, but the chords are quite quite uplifting and atmospheric, but with this kind of mathy kind of indie feel to it. And some tracks you get a bit of both, you get that kind of yin and yang kind of balance. Mammal gives you that the kind of pulse and bass that's kind of flirting and kind of almost kind of minor key, but then the guitars are like layered over the top and much lighter and kind of more kind of gentle. So they're really cool at balancing things out, and whatever they do, like it's always really creative. There's always something that's kind of keeping you interested. And actually, there was no point during this album I was like, oh, I wish there was a vocal on this. Like, I never thought that once.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I often do with instrumental bands. But musically, this was like imaginative enough that with enough kind of attention to detail that I was never really and wanting that kind of extra layer of vocals on it. And that was before I even got to tracks like Crushed Under Something Gentle, which really like elevated this album at the next level. The strings on that track are unreal. And like this is not like generic programmed strings either. This is a real cello, real violin, provided by Nicole Hogstrand and Lisa Marie Borrell, and they sound stunning on this release. It adds a real kind of richness to the album. Kind of like also kind of put me in mind of maybe Leprous a little bit, that just the way it kind of makes it feel a bit more grand, a little bit of a more emotional kind of streak to it. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, oh, please let there be more of this. And they do, like later on the album, Grinding the Margins.
Such a pretty track. It's like it's the only drumless song on the album, and it is slow and beautiful.
Yeah,
it's great.
But before you get there, they give you some really nice guitar work on Sudoku.
Let's go with that. Well, we're pronouncing it. Who knows?
Which is it's quite a kind of surreal kind of vibe to it. Which a lot of this album does, to be honest. I think they definitely live within that kind of like surrealist kind of world, where they're kind of like they thrive on that creating abstract patterns and a lot of kind of dreamlike kind of soundscapes. And sometimes it's quite subtle, like on kind of Grind the Margins, where the strings are used a bit more minimally on that track, but then the closing track they kind of lean back into it, and you can hear certain instruments being a bit more improvisational, I suppose. The bass, like it goes for an absolute walk on Pleasure Chamber. It's having a great old time. Very much like I did with this album, to be honest. It sounds like another kind of evolvement of the band's sound. It doesn't reach the heaviness of the previous album, but it goes further into exploration, kind of pushes more kind of cinematic ideas, definitely more playful. And I really enjoyed the inclusion of the strings on this one. I feel like they just kind of scratched the surface of that. Like I'm like, oh, could go a wee bit deeper, like a wee bit more. But production, as you mentioned, is also a huge plus point here. It does just sound like a band jamming in a room. It's as natural as it gets, just really killer tones, nice analog kind of warmth to it, but it doesn't sound like old or vintage. It still has that nice kind of modern kind of sharpness to it, very clean. Just it makes it kind of pop even more. But this was really good. I really enjoyed this. It is kind of like yourself, like there's a certain mood or like headspace you'll be in when you'll be like, oh, this is the album that I want to listen to right now. And when that mood kind of hits, you're like, yeah, give me something progressive and playful and creative, and this is the album I would go to. Creating something does still matter, guys. So keep doing what you're doing. Really enjoyed this one. So our scores for Grindwork by Town Portal. Duncan, what are you thinking?
So I've been playing this album a lot in conjunction with the band that I mentioned earlier on, which linked me up to this one. I've been spinning that Snooze album to death, and I will do right to the end of the year. I freaking adore it. And this album, weirdly, is a great album just to go straight into right after listening to Snooze. Right. It does so much for me. Without overdoing anything, which I think is like a fine art. I'd never heard of these guys before. I'm giving it a 4.5. I think it is a really, really, really good album, and this is the album I'm actually, from the ones we've are going to be recording this week, this is the one I would champion. I would say I'd never heard of these guys before. I reckon there's probably a lot of people that haven't, and I know that our listeners, viewers, whatever we want to call them, like the obscure stuff, they like the stuff that's off the beaten track. This is the one to check out. Definitely. There's if you're a musician, or if you just like listening to music that just makes your brain meander, Town Portal is the band for you. 4.5.
I'm going to join you on that 4.5, Duncan. Wasn't sure that it was going to come in that high, to be honest, but the more I've listened to this album, the more it's kind of impressed me, and I feel like the strings maybe pushed it up that 0.5, to be honest. Like when I heard the strings, I was like, oh man, that's the shit. That's my jam.
The bass, Dave. The bass.
The bass is incredible. Like the
bass. Look at the eyebrows go up.
Oh, the bass. Yeah, awesome. Love to see these guys live as well. Like if they're touring, or Denmark's not that far from Scotland, you know, they could always do a little.
Maybe the thing is, for all we know, they've toured loads over here, and we just didn't know.
It's quite possible, Duncan. It's quite possible. So Grindwork is out on November 7th on Dream Bureau. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, stick one of the singles in there, have a listen, see what you think. I'm happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. That is a review. Thanks for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Catch you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me!